Friday. The last morning of June. Sarah wakes up before her alarm. Again. In English, some of the most important conversations happen in two directions at the same time, looking back at where you have been and looking forward at where you are going. Today, you will hear both. 10 phrases for reflection, recognition, and the quiet courage it takes to begin again. Before we begin, I want you to notice something. On day 1, you pressed play on a story you were not sure you could follow. The words came quickly. The sentences were long. You had to concentrate. Today, you are not concentrating. You are listening. There is a difference. Concentration is effort. Listening is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the language, trust that your ear knows more than you think. You built that. 30 days, one story at a time. From A1 to B1. This is the last one. Let's not rush it. It is Friday. Sarah wakes at 6. She lies still for a moment, not thinking about anything in particular. Just the ceiling, the light coming through the curtain, the sound of a bus somewhere outside. She does not pick up her phone. She makes coffee slowly. The kettle, the mug, the window. Brooklyn is still quiet at this hour on a Friday, the kind of quiet that belongs to the people who live here, not the ones passing through. She stands at the window with both hands around the mug and looks out. She thinks about the first time she stood at this window, 4 years ago, the week she moved in. She hadn't known anyone yet. The city felt enormous, and she felt very small inside it. She had stood at the same window with a different mug, the one she broke the following winter, and looked out at the same street. It is the same window. She is not the same person. She puts on her shoes and goes out, not to run, just to walk, the way she used to when she first arrived, when walking was how she learned the shape of things. Look back on. To look back on something means to think about a past experience from where you are now, with more knowledge, more distance, more understanding than you had at the time. Looking back on something is not the same as being stuck in the past. It is a way of seeing the distance you have traveled. She looks back on her first year in Brooklyn and barely recognizes herself. Looking back on it now, she understands why she was so afraid. He looks back on that decision differently now, with more patience than regret. Come a long way. This phrase means to have made significant progress from where you started. It does not have to be dramatic. It can be quiet, a slow accumulation of days and choices that, seen from a distance, adds up to something real. She has come a long way since that first week. It's easy to forget how far you've come when you're focused on how far you still have to go. You've come a long way. Give yourself credit for that. She walks south. Park Slope on a Friday morning is not the same as the weekend. The streets are quiet in a residential way. Someone watering plants on a stoop, a cat sitting in a window, the sound of a school somewhere nearby that has not yet filled with children. Unhurried, belonging to itself. She walks without a destination. The route takes her past the hardware store that has been there since before she arrived, past the corner where the bodega has the best coffee if you don't mind the paper cup, past the entrance to Prospect Park, where she turns in without deciding to. The park is almost empty. Just a few runners, one man walking a large dog, a woman on a bench with a thermos. The grass is still wet from the night before. The light comes through the trees in long, uneven columns. She walks slowly and lets her mind settle. Appreciate. To appreciate something means to recognize its value, to see it clearly, to be grateful for it. Often, we appreciate things more clearly in retrospect, when we understand what we had. But sometimes, if we are paying attention, we can appreciate something while it is still here. She appreciated the quietness of the park in a way she never had before. He didn't appreciate how good things were until they changed. Part of growing up is learning to appreciate ordinary things. Take stock of. To take stock of something means to assess it honestly, to stop moving for a moment and look at where you are, what you have, and what still needs attention. It is a way of making the next step more deliberate. She took stock of the year and felt, for the first time, that it had been a good one. It helps, sometimes, to stop and take stock of everything you have built. Before moving forward, he took stock of what he actually had. She thinks about the month that just passed, not reviewing it item by item, but feeling the shape of it. The laptop that broke on a Tuesday night, the budget she had to rework, the community center, Maya's kitchen, and the park on Wednesday. Priya's question, the list in the sketchbook she wrote on a bench by the lake. It had been a full month. Not easy, full. Let go of. To let go of something means to stop holding on to it, a fear, a habit, an old version of yourself that no longer fits. Letting go is not the same as forgetting. It is a decision, sometimes quiet, sometimes slow, to stop carrying something that is no longer useful. She had let go of the idea that she needed to have everything figured out. Some things you let go of all at once, others you release slowly, without noticing. Letting go of the past doesn't mean it didn't matter. It means you are ready for what comes next. She finds a bench near the south end of the Long Meadow and sits down. She opens the sketchbook. She does not write a list. She draws. Just the trees in front of her, the ones at the edge of the meadow, the light coming through them, the shape of the path that curves to the left and disappears. Her hand moves quickly, without thinking too much. A few lines. The feeling of the place more than the exact detail. She hasn't drawn just for herself in a while. Most of her drawing lately has been for clients. Precise, purposeful, answering a brief. This is different. This is just her hand, and the trees, and the morning. She looks at what she has drawn. It is not a great sketch, but it is true. Be proud of. To be proud of something means to feel a quiet, honest satisfaction in it, not arrogance, but recognition. You can be proud of work you did well, a choice you made with integrity, or simply the fact that you kept going when it would have been easier to stop. She was proud of the portfolio she had built, not because it was perfect, but because it was hers. Be proud of how far you have come. It did not happen by accident. He was proud of the small things, the daily ones. Those are the ones that add up. Grow as a person. To grow as a person means to develop in ways that are internal, to become more patient, more self-aware, more honest, more capable of handling what life brings. It is not always visible from the outside. It often happens quietly, over years, in the spaces between the things that seem important. She had grown as a person in ways she couldn't have predicted when she arrived. Growth doesn't always feel like growth when it's happening. The hard years are often the ones that help you grow the most as a person. She looks at the trees. The light is different now than when she sat down. A little higher, a little warmer. A Friday in June becoming itself. What matters most? This phrase describes the things that are genuinely important, not the urgent things, not the loud things, but the things that remain valuable when everything else is stripped away. Knowing what matters most is something most people spend years learning. and then spend more years trying to remember. She had spent a long time doing things because she thought she should. Now she was learning to ask, does this matter? Is this what matters most? When things got difficult, it became easier to see what matters most. He rearranged his whole life around what matters most, and it took a long time to figure out what that was. A small wind moves through the meadow, the kind that comes and goes without reason. It lifts the corner of the sketchbook page. She puts her hand down to hold it. She looks at the drawing again. Still true. She closes the sketchbook. The park around her is filling slowly. More runners, a few cyclists, someone with a yoga mat. Friday moving toward itself. She gets up and walks home. It is 8:30 when she turns onto her block. Brooklyn is awake now. The bodega has its shutters fully open, the smell of coffee drifting out. A woman is carrying 2 bags of groceries up a stoop. A dog is sitting on the step, watching the street with great seriousness. Sarah walks slowly, no hurry. She thinks about what she is carrying forward from this month. Not the budget, not the new client, not the checklist in the sketchbook. The other things. The quieter ones. That showing up at the community center on a Tuesday evening matters more than it looks. That a Wednesday afternoon in a park with food in a canvas bag is not a small thing. That Priya's question, where do you see yourself, is worth sitting with, even without a clean answer. That she has come a long way, and that she is only at the beginning of what comes next. A new chapter. A new chapter is a new phase of life that begins after something else ends. It does not require a dramatic change or a clear plan. Sometimes a new chapter begins quietly, with a Friday morning walk, a closed sketchbook, a decision to keep going in a direction that feels right. She thought of it as a new chapter, not a reinvention, but a continuation with more clarity. Every ending is the beginning of a new chapter. She wasn't sure what the new chapter would look like, but she was ready to find out. Carry something with you. To carry something with you means to take it forward, not as a weight, but as something valuable. A lesson learned. A person who changed you. A version of yourself you want to keep. You carry it not because you are stuck, but because it belongs to who you are now. She carried the memory of that year with her, not to relive it, but because it was part of her. What do you carry with you from the hard times? The best experiences are the ones you carry with you long after they end. She gets home, makes breakfast, eggs, good bread, coffee that is not from a paper cup. She sits at the kitchen table. The sketchbook is beside her, closed. She opens her laptop. The architecture project from Dumbo, almost finished. She works. Today, Sarah woke before her alarm, made coffee slowly, and went for a walk. She walked through Park Slope, into Prospect Park, and sat on a bench near the Long Meadow. She drew the trees. She walked home. She made breakfast and opened her laptop. A Friday, the last morning of June, a day that asked nothing dramatic of her and gave her something quiet in return. Let's review today's vocabulary. Look back on, to think about a past experience from where you are now with more distance and understanding. Come a long way. To have made real, significant progress from where you started. Appreciate. To recognize the value of something clearly and with gratitude. Take stock of. To stop and assess honestly where you are and what you have built. Let go of. To stop holding on to something that no longer serves you. Be proud of. To feel quiet, honest satisfaction in something you have done or kept going with. Grow as a person. to develop internally in patience, honesty, and the capacity to face what life brings. What matters most? The things that remain genuinely important when everything else falls away. A new chapter, a new phase of life beginning, quietly, after something else ends. Carry something with you, to take something forward, a lesson, a memory, a part of who you have become. These 10 phrases are for the mornings when you stop moving long enough to see where you are, for the moments when you look back, not to stay there, but to understand the distance, and for what you choose to carry forward. Before this ends, I want to say something to you. You showed up 30 times. That is not small. Most people who start something like this, a habit, a journey, a commitment, stop somewhere in the middle when the initial energy fades and the finish line is still far away. You did not stop. Trust that. Trust what you have built. Not because the road ahead is easy, but because you have already proven something about yourself. You can go the distance. Sarah's story ends here, on a Friday morning, a sketchbook in her hands, a city that is finally hers. But your story with English does not end. It opens. What you practiced in 30 days of listening is a foundation, and foundations are not endings. They are the beginning of everything else you can build. At English Journey Studio, we will be here. The next chapter, the next story, the next 30 days. We will walk alongside you. This journey is difficult. It is also extraordinary, and you do not have to walk it alone. You started this series on day 1. You are here now, on day 30. Sarah's story is over, but your story with English is not. You have spent 30 days listening to one voice, one story, one city, and something has changed in the way you hear, the way you understand, the way English moves through you. That is yours now. Carry it with you.